I'm a saxophonist who started to play the bass less than 4 years ago, and I quickly realized that these strings are kind of hard to press. The combination of the string size and fret spacing on a bass neck can really make this instrument feel uncomfortable. And in this video, I'm going to show you a secret technique borrowed from a distant cousin, the upright bass, that will make the electric bass feel much more comfortable to play. If you're a guitar player, stick around, because what we're talking about has to do with correct fretting technique, applicable to any instrument with a fretboard. And I just realized last night that the specific bass technique I'll be showing you can also be adapted to guitar. So I'm going to show you how to hold your wrist so that your fretting hand never gets tired. I'll give you an exercise that makes electric bass strings feel as easy to press down as guitar strings. And finally, I'll show you how to build a strong one finger per fret technique so that your fretting hand becomes unstoppable. Just look around the internet and you'll see images even of very famous bass and guitar players who play the instrument with their hands like this. At first, this is going to feel like you have more dexterity in your fingers to reach the wide stretches needed to play the bass neck. But over time, this can lead to painful injuries that affect your ability to play the bass. If you plan to be playing guitar or bass for the rest of your life, then you're going to want to make sure you always play with a straight wrist. At first, playing with a straight wrist might feel like it limits your flexibility and your ability to spread your fingers across the frets, but we'll come back to that topic later in the video. I first want to prove to you just how much more power you have in your fretting hand than you realize. So take your hand with your wrist in a neutral position and squeeze your fingertips together as hard as you can. While squeezing your fingertips together, I want you to try and move your hand to the bent wrist position. And you'll notice the only way to do this is to release the pressure between your fingertips. That's how much power you're missing out on if you're not playing with a straight wrist. And it's way more force than you would ever need to press down your strings. So playing the guitar or bass should always feel easy. But maybe you play with a neutral wrist position already and your fingers still feel weak, especially these two. Well, these fingers are much weaker than the other two, so there's that. And add the fact that bass necks have very wide note spacings and thick strings. But this problem has actually already been solved 200 years ago by players of an instrument with much wider note spacings and thicker strings. The upright bass, the lowest member of the violin family, has a scale length about 8 inches longer than most electric basses. And the low E string on many uprights is often larger than the low B string on many 5-string electrics. So upright players need to make full use of their hand and arm muscles to be able to play their instruments for extended periods of time. And we can directly apply this technique to make electric bass significantly easier to play. Just take your third and fourth fingers and put them together. If anyone knows what I just played, drop it in the comments. It's what got me into playing the bass, and I have a lot more content related to that music coming to this channel. But back to the 3-finger bass technique. To begin developing this, start each practice session with these exercises. And you can even do something similar with guitar technique. For example, check out this Joe Pass line. This pinky roll is kind of awkward. You can use the third and fourth fingers together so the pinky is already lined up with the D string, and then the third finger helps with the clarity of the pull-off. And just like in that guitar line where I shifted back to a 1 finger per fret technique, there are going to be times you'll want to do this in your bass playing as well. As we get higher up the bass neck, the note spacing becomes more like a guitar. So it makes sense to switch to a 1 note per fret technique at some point. But to give us the most amount of freedom playing the bass, we want to extend this as far as possible into the lower frets. just so we have the option to also use the fingers individually if need be. So I have some technical exercises we can do to increase our ability to play one note per fret all over the neck. Then rest for a minute before moving on to the next strings. When you get to the lowest strings, you can either move the thumb to the front of the fretboard, like on an upright, or just start further down the neck. So this is a mechanical exercise and not a musical one, and the most important thing is to keep the straight wrist throughout. In order to play with proper fretting technique on either a guitar or bass, the direction we need to stretch our fingers is not open like this, but diagonally like this. Notice how much further you can open your fingers and how many more frets you can span on both the neck of the guitar or bass. And just like stretching other parts of your body, if you can't move your fingers like this yet, don't try to force your hand to stretch more than is healthy for it at this time. So rest frequently, try to go a little further each day, and pretty soon you'll have more strength, dexterity, and flexibility in your hand and fingers than ever before. Throughout this video, and most of the ones I will post to this channel, you will rarely, if ever, see tabs, because I want to help as many guitarists and bassists as possible to become musically literate and learn to read notation. Contrary to popular opinion, this is going to make the fretboard much easier to navigate, help you to develop your ears, and make playing your instrument an overall richer experience. So I'm building out a 12-module fretboard reading course for guitarists and bassists in both treble and bass clef, which you can have for free. Just drop your email in the link below, and it will take you right to it. Then I'll email you updates as I complete each module. And if you don't want to take my word for it that reading music is the best way to learn the fretboard, go watch this video here and hear it from Jimmy Bruno, one of the greatest guitarists to ever live.